My name is Dolly Chang. I am an ophthalmologist by training. Currently, I am a group medical director at Genentech Research and Early Clinical Development, GRED. So this is a exploratory analysis from our phase 3 clinical trials, Yosemite and Rhine. And what we have found is by the use of deep learning algorithm to segment the OCT images, what we have found is greater intraretinal fluid reduction after the first dose of treatment seems to associated with better vision gain and better anatomical outcome. So specifically, this algorithm was developed from our phase 2 clinical trials. And this allows us to analyze through thousands or tens of thousands of OCT images and produce a couple variables such as the intraretinal fluid volume, subretinal fluid, total retinal thickness, inner retinal thickness, and the inner nuclear layer thickness. And what we have done is we categorize these patients based on their first dose response, specifically for the intraretinal fluid volume, into 3 different categories. The first category, patients had a great response, reduced more than 50% of the intraretinal fluid. That's roughly about 40% of the included patients. And the second category is those who reduce intraretinal fluid for 20 to 50%. And the third category is less than 20%. And what we have done is we're looking at their 1-year outcome based on the category of their first dose response. And those with 50% reduction had greater vision gain of an average of 12.2 letters as compared to those with less than 20% reduction of IRF. They gain about 8.2 letters. So this is like a 4-letter difference in treatment response at 1 year, which is pretty interesting findings. We also looking at how their retina doing after 1 year of treatment. So those with greater than 50% response also had better drying at 1 year. So in other words, they have greater reduction in total retinal thickness. They have greater reduction in inner retinal thickness. They also have greater reduction in intraretinal fluid. So I think from this paper, what we're really excited is to learn that the early drying, better response to the first dose of therapy seems to strongly associate with better vision and anatomical outcome at 1 year. Yeah. I think that, this is something that we probably have observe in a clinic. Patient respond fairly quickly, seems to have better outcome, but with the AI algorithm, this is the first time that we are able to segment based on different part of the fluid, where to look at the fluid reduction and how that correlate with vision outcome. But I do want to highlight the limitation of this research, that these are trial patients. So every patient is different. When a patient walk in, they may be very different from the trial patient. They may have different glucose control. They may have different background disease. They may have fluid for a longer period of time. So I think that this is exciting to give us some insight that early drying seems to be important. But meanwhile, I do think that we need to recognize the individual differences in response and their background disease as well. Yeah, that's also another limitation I do want to highlight, because we analyze all the patients across 3 different arms and 2 different treatment agents. So, in this analysis, we weren't looking at the treatment differences between the 2, but I think that it's just overall, faster treatment response, faster drying seems to, associate with better vision outcome. But meanwhile, these patients are staying on treatment for a whole year. So it doesn't mean that, once you see a fast response, you can stop treating these patients. Yeah, I think that, one of the things that we're very excited about is the technology keep evolving over time. We have collected such a rich data sets on the images and such. So I think that our imaging scientists will still continue to look at different imaging biomarkers and to see, is there any additional information that we can observe through these data sets and provide some more insight on treatment response or looking into potential new therapies in this field and share with the retina community. Yeah, I think that what was, really surprising is that there was so much information just coming out of the first dose of therapy. Traditionally we feel like DME patients, patient may have a delayed response. You may only know the treatment outcome by treating for a very extended period of time. But I think that we can get a lot of insights from just how patients respond to the first dose of therapy. But again, this is just a link and just the beginning of understanding these type of analysis, and there's much more work that we need to do.